Senator Omidvar.
Thank you, Speaker. Senator Gold, my question is once again about Afghanistan. We all know how brutal that regime is. Just as an example, a few weeks ago, Yama Nasimi, a young 24-year-old boy who had applied for protection to Canada, was shot brutally outside of his home in Kabul. His application was supported by Operation Abraham, which is headed up by former Minister of Justice Irvin Kotler. And we know that we have promised to resettle 40,000 Afghan refugees. We know that roughly 13,000 have applied to come. But the point of protecting vulnerable refugees is that they need to be protected soon, fast. That should be our operating motto. So can you tell me what new efforts the government is taking to extract those most vulnerable in Afghanistan and bring them to safety?
Senator, thank you for your question. If it was a matter simply of will, there would be at least 40,000 Afghan refugees in Canada here already. But the reality is that at every step of the way, there were obstacles facing the government that were not present in other large-scale resettlement efforts to which Canada was a party. There are a number of significant factors simply that the government of Canada does not control, such as safe passage out of Afghanistan and the ability of Afghans the government wants to resettle here to leave the country. The government continues to work on these each and every day. As colleagues know, the government of Canada has no military or diplomatic presence in Afghanistan, makes travel very difficult, indeed dangerous. And as Afghanistan is currently controlled by the Taliban, which this government does not recognize as a legitimate government, this prevents any diplomatic engagements or negotiations on the exit of Afghan nationals from Afghanistan. Moreover, colleagues, third countries determine the entry and exit documents required to transit through their country, and which may include the need for an Afghan visa and passport. Despite these challenges, we have now welcomed in Canada over 15,000 Afghan refugees. Government continues to process Afghan refugees' applications day and night, and the government has mobilized its entire global network to process visas and issue them on a timely basis, on an urgent basis, I should have said.
Senator Omidvar.
Thank you, Senator Gold. That was a very fulsome answer. I appreciate that. And although Afghanistan is not Syria, the context is extremely different, I also want to give credit to the government for that Herculean effort just 6 years ago. And that history, I think, is still fresh in our minds. The government has so far produced 3 reports outlining the lessons learned from that experience. And my concern is that the lessons learned may well be lessons lost because we're not applying them. Can you tell me what the government is doing to train IRCC staff so that they can be better prepared for these crises, which will come again? They will no doubt come again, and apply them at this moment to Afghanistan.
Senator Gold.
Well, I don't have a specific answer to the additional what training is being done in response to this particular situation. But again, it gives me the opportunity to underline the tragic difference. Both situations were tragic, to be sure, but the difference in what we were facing in Syria and what we're facing with Afghanistan. I mean, in the case of Syria, we were taking people from camps in Lebanon and Jordan. They'd already been processed by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. There was an ability to get a bit of a heads up on the situation. It is just not the case, unfortunately, with regard to Afghanistan. It's very, very hard to apply a rigorous screening process when a country is still in the state that it is. Government remains committed, remains to work on it. I will make some inquiries about what additional training may be taking place and report back when I can.